hi Charlanne, very nice to meet you. Welcome to Xuxu Season 2. Before we dive into anything, I want to ask what's something people don't know about Prague or Czech Republic?
The one thing that surprised me the most was how not religious it is. I didn't really know that before moving here. I'm a priest's daughter, and so I grew up in a very religious community. But once I left the church, I was still experiencing religion, but I never saw it as religion. It's just like a way of life. And then coming here, it's just not existent. It's one thing that surprised me, and I don't think a lot of people know.
True. But how did you find out about this, like in Prague? Because like obviously there's like churches everywhere, but it doesn't mean like people are actually going.
It's more about how interacting with like other Czechs, and they were just telling me, yeah, we don't do religion. Like it's not a thing here. Yeah.
Nice. Wow, interesting. Can you tell me a bit more how long you've been here and what actually made you stay in Prague?
So back in the early 2010s, there was this fitness influencer on YouTube called Susanna Light, and she was based in Prague. And she did workouts, and then she would show us around, like little vlog style of like a Prague. And she's like, yeah, so I'm going to the mall today, and to get to the mall, I need to take the ferry. So she took a ferry to get to Czech Republic, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And so my father asks me, we're going to do a father-daughter trip this year. Where would you like to go? I said, Prague. We're going to Prague. And so I go to Prague. It was actually when Václav Havel died. We were here for that, and It was an interesting time. Lots of our hotel was the Happy Mog, which is just on Wenceslas Square, right across from the horse statue. And I took lots of pictures.
How old were you? Sorry.
I was 23, maybe 23.
Yeah.
And I took lots of pictures. And when I got back, I was dating this American guy in the U.S. And I showed him pictures. I'm like, oh, look at Prague. Look at Prague. He had never been anywhere in continental Europe. He had only been to Ireland. And he's like, we're moving there. And so then, like, within a year, we moved.
Wow.
Yeah. I was in the process of becoming a police officer because that's what I wanted to do. I had gone to school to become a police officer. And I was in the final rounds to become a Connecticut State Trooper. And I was just like, what? I'm moving to Prague instead.
Yeah, the calling was so strong.
Yeah, I don't even know why. I was just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
it just felt like right.
Yeah.
But my whole life was planned around becoming a police officer in California with a German Shepherd. But in the end, I moved to Prague with my pit bull and became a designer. So life just took a completely different turn.
Yeah, maybe you had a gut feeling that it wasn't made for you to be a police officer. Like
I got that feeling a lot at interviews.
Like looking back at it.
Yeah, looking back even now, I'm very glad I didn't go down that route. But every time I went to like test events or anything, the guys in the military would show up in their uniforms, and here I am with like a suit and pencil skirt, feeling like, you know, a 12-year-old in their mom's, you know, outfit. Like I felt like so out of place there. And then the interview process was very much like very stern, and I was just like, oh, like I felt like I wanted to make a joke and smile, but it felt like the wrong thing to do. So I was like, this is really uncomfortable. So I guess deep down I realized being a police officer was not for me. I liked the idea of the rules. So with the rules, I went to law school here in Prague. And I didn't become a lawyer, but I became a compliance officer with it.
And so what did your dad say about you moving to Prague?
Oh, he was very upset. He said you wouldn't even make it a year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why?
Because he didn't think that I could handle being on my own.
Interesting. Mm. Well, yeah, you made it.
I did. It's been 13 years now. Yeah, 13 years this year.
Okay. And have you talked about it with your dad since? Like how you thought you wouldn't make it or something?
I would sometimes like rub it in his face like, you didn't think I would make it. But look at me. It's been 5 years, 10 years, whatever. And he's like, I knew you could make it. I knew you could do this. I'm like, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hiding like, yeah, I knew what I was doing. It's just like a parenting.
Exactly. It was
hack.
tough love, you know?
Yes.
I wanted to, you know, boost the motivation in you to get everything done and do it right.
Hmm. So you're from the US, right?
I am from Connecticut. If you ever watch Gilmore Girls, I'm from where Mr. Medina, Max, he's from Stanford. That's where I'm from.
Okay.
I moved here in 2013, and I stayed because I ended up meeting my now Czech husband.
Oh, he's Czech?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Well, he would say he's Moravian. He's not
Okay.
Czech.
So, where did you meet your husband, if I can ask?
Tinder.
Tinder.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, I had moved to Prague with my then boyfriend from the US. We broke up. I went on Tinder, and a month after my breakup, I met my husband.
Okay. Do you know the stats of people like actually finding a husband on Tinder or?
I don't, but I do know quite a few people that have. But it seems to be like Tinder back in 2014, 2015 time. I don't really hear too many stories now about it.
I was gonna say, I think it's less and less.
Maybe,
yes. So, but good for you. Good for
Thank you.
So what are you doing in Prague these days?
I'm a designer, graphic designer, UX UI designer.
I want to ask if you have like 3 of your best moments in Prague, so you can tell us through these stories.
So I was thinking of like best moments in Prague, and a lot of my best moments are more Prague adjacent. So for example, my husband and I, when we first started dating, we went on the bike path in Holešovice, and he's like, yeah, this bike path goes all the way to Dresden. And I was like, let's do that. And so like a weekend or 2 later, we just biked all the way to Dresden and got to bike from Czech Republic all the way through the little villages into Germany. It was really cool.
A week after meeting?
A little bit longer, maybe like 1 or 2 weeks after meeting, but it was one of our early dates. It was really cool.
And that's like what, like 2-3 days biking? Because actually one of my friends wants to go this summer and do this, and I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
Some people do it in a day. It took us 2 days. It was about 12 hours each day.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm a slow biker. Like I was never, I know how to ride a bike, but I never was an avid biker in any way, shape or form. And neither was my husband. So there was no training for this. We just did it. So it took us longer. And there was definitely a lot of complaining from my end. And when we were asking for directions, and by we, I mean my husband, in the Czech Republic, he was able to lie when the people would reply like, oh, it's only this much longer. But once we got into Germany, the person replied in English like, oh yeah, it's another 2 hours. And my husband's like, no, it's going to be like another hour. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm like, okay, I can do this.
Wow, I can imagine. Like, I think the most I've done is like maybe 40 kilometers in a day, maybe, okay, 50 if you want to push it, but you're crazy.
Yeah, it was a very crazy moment, but it was really cool, really, really cool.
You were just riding on the adrenaline of like new dating and like, oh, I can't. Well, you complained, yes, so you were not.
I was complaining about the uncomfortness because I never biked before. I never, aside from like as a kid biking around the block or something, but never biked anywhere.
Super cool. That super counts as one of the best moments. Yeah, I mean, in Prague, Czech Republic, or anything related to like your time being here.
One of my earliest memories, like when I first moved here, I had to go to a visa appointment in Bratislava. And I had been taking Czech lessons. And when I went to the visa appointment, the lady was filling out my form, but she was very aggravated with me. But she, like, under her breath in Czech said, like, oh, but you don't even speak Czech. And I immediately responded in Czech, like, oh, I'm learning Czech, I understand. And she was very shocked. It was a very proud moment. And I haven't had too many of those now, but...
So in Bratislava?
In Bratislava, yeah. It was just really cool.
There's no U.S. embassy here, or?
No, you had to go outside the country to the embassy outside to get your visa originally, at least back in 2013.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to be outside the country, you can apply, then come back.
And is that one of your best moments as well? Or?
Yeah.
Is
that was a really proud moment for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other one, this one's Prague based. It was the night before they announced the lockdown. I was pregnant, like, I don't know how many months, second trimester, third trimester, I can't remember. And we were just walking and there was just nobody. And it was so cool to walk through the city. There was, the Charles Bridge was completely empty. Town Square had like 1 or 2 people. And I remember listening to like the Czech radio of like announcing the lockdown while we're walking around. And I thought it was so cool.
I forgot everything that happened and how it happened, you know, like which country had lockdown first. And yeah, for me, it's like very blurry. I just remember vividly the moment I was working at the French Institute back then. And I don't know, I guess it was a Tuesday midday, and we had a meeting outside, like in the courtyard of the French Institute, and the director is saying like, okay, there's a lockdown, you have to come back and work from home. And we were so excited. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And it was spring, so it's like sunny and everything. I was like, oh, that's so cool. I get to go home. And then just setting up a random, because I didn't have a desk in my room. And so yeah, that was the early days of home office, and now I can't imagine not having home office. Like,
Yeah. Same.
I work from home maybe half of the week at least.
Yeah, the lockdown was an interesting time. And then seeing all the restaurants like come together and like putting their stuff outside, like making it easier for the community to get stuff when they need it. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, nice. So do your kids count as COVID babies, or technically no, right?
Technically, no. Well, yeah, no. The first one, she was born in July 2020. So she was already conceived before COVID. Like, that was already done. And the second one is 3. So she's definitely not a COVID baby.
Any stories about like giving birth in Czech Republic? Is that something you imagine for yourself at some point?
For my first, the birth process was fine. Everybody was really nice to me. We were able to get a nice room. They had like a room at Bolovka with like a tub and a second room that my husband could like rest in. And everybody spoke English. They were really nice. Afterwards, they sent me upstairs because the husband can only be there, or the partner could always be there for like from like 3 to 6 or something. And once I had given birth and made my way upstairs, it was after 6, so he couldn't stay anymore, which was kind of annoying because like it's my first baby. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, why am I don't even know how I'm supposed to go to the bathroom. I can't bring her into the bathroom with me. Then I was told that I could leave my daughter so I could rest, like in the nursery. But then when I tried, nobody spoke English suddenly in this new ward. And I was trying to bring her to the ward so I could sleep. And the doctor, who didn't speak any English, was like, no, you keep. And I was like, okay. So I just sat her the whole time. And the only thing that makes it like really annoying is that it was also my birthday. I gave birth on my birthday. But that's actually the nicer birth. The second one was a little bit more emotional.
In the same place?
No, I was at a Polonarish.
Okay.
Polonarish, yeah. They were a bit mean there. They wouldn't let my husband in until I got my epidural. So I was left alone screaming. Nobody realized that I was in active labor giving birth. And so I was just laying there in a lot of pain. And the nurse came in and was like, you need to be quiet. It's not that bad. And another nurse came in and tried to give me an IV. And there was a contraction, so I moved. And so she slapped my wrist and told me not to move. And I was there for like an hour just screaming in pain, like, epidural, please, epidural, because I wanted less about the pain going away, more about my husband being able to come in. Epidural guy came, and they went to go put the needle in, and before I could even get any medicine, they flipped me back, and the baby came right out.
Oh my God.
Nobody knew that I was that close. Nobody realized. It was not very nice.
I heard many things about birth left and right. I know there's many groups online. Different friends of mine gave birth in different places. So yeah, seems like it's a lottery. So
yeah, some people have really great experience at a Polonarish. They're very good. The nurses are friendly. For me, it was not that experience. When I first got in, my husband like rang the doorbell. The nurse was apparently really rude to him, and he replied, because she said like, "What do you want?" And he's like, "What do you think? I have a pizza. What do you think I want? My wife is in labor." And so they take me in, they sit me by myself and put like a thing over me to, monitor the baby. And as soon as I lay down, a pregnant woman shouldn't lay down. I was in excruciating pain. And they left me there for 30 minutes. And then I had to go to a shower room, and they had me bounce on a ball for 30 minutes. And all this is happening like in Czech. And she's like, okay, 30 minutes. I'm like, 30 nebo 13, like 30 or 13. And she's like 30. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow.
It wasn't very nice.
Okay. So yeah, I guess that's part of the very challenging moments you lived through Prague. Because like now you've been here 13 years. Mm-hmm. Do you know people that have been here that long? Like people you made friends with when you arrived and still friends with?
Yeah, there's one girl that when I moved here with my ex, they were both taking the TEFL certificate course. And so they put us all in this one apartment. Not apartment, it was like a house with multiple apartments. And she was part of that group. And I'm still friends with her. Her name is Ellie. Still friends with her to this day.
I wish I had kept a list of all the people I met in Prague, like people that are not originally Czech, because I feel like I forgot like many of them because like so many people come and go, and it would be nice to like keep like a little wall picture or something, because sometimes my memory just brings bits of things, and I was like, oh yeah, true, I like we met and that was fun, and I wonder what they're up to today. So, but I guess I'm happy I stayed.
Same.
Yeah.
But I think I mentioned I'm moving.
Yes.
I'm moving to Olomouc, a village near there. I'll be sad to leave Prague, but I'm excited to have a yard.
Oh, so you're not moving to Olomouc, but like a village next
A village
to it?
next to it, yeah, like 10-minute drive or something. It's my husband's village where he grew up, and his family has a plot of land, and we built a tiny house on it, so we're going to live there.
In a tiny house? That's so cool.
Yeah.
Who built it? Or like...
The structure was built by like a company, but then everything inside was built by my husband and his family and his friends that have helped us to build it.
Oh wow! So how big?
It's 25 square meters, but then we also have 2 lofts, and I think my husband said it's like 33, 35 in total with the 2 loft spaces for the bedrooms.
That sounds exciting. So how did you come to this idea to move there?
Prague got very expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
And our rent every month is, and not every month, every year goes up by 2,000, and it's just kind of a lot, and there's no, it's less about the money, more about the security, like the stability of knowing what your rent is going to be in a few years. Like, we don't know, because 5 years ago we were paying 10K less for the same place. So we don't know what it would be in 5 years from now. So if we were to move in 5 years, our kids are going to have more friends, they're going to be more, situated. So it's better just to do it now.
Right. I often think about it because I've been in this place like 5 years, and I think my rent was increased only once. But what's your experience of like cities outside of Prague? Did you have like an adaptation plan, like, or are you just gonna go 100% like?
Well, we've been using the tiny house as like our weekend getaway.
Okay.
So we've been slowly moving over there. The girls have their new school, and they've been going every Friday full time, and now they'll start going more as we adjust. And yeah.
Is there any other tiny houses around that area?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
My husband was obsessed with the Tiny House Nation, like TV shows and stuff, and so he really loved that idea. And with the garden plot, you were only allowed to build on like 10% of the land, so that's how big you can have.
Okay.
So having that limitation, my husband was very excited about a tiny house. But no, aside from like normal like chatas or something, like there's not proper tiny houses.
Okay. I've watched all of the Netflix shows about tiny houses as well. So I'm like so excited. I'm like really curious to see. Yeah, but that sounds like a fun plan, and like spring is like super nice to move in.
Yeah, that's why we waited. Since it's a tiny house, we don't want to move there dead of winter with 2 kids, and we're going to be stuck inside. So we wanted to move during the nicer months. The kids can play outside, and we have time to build. We're going to build a pergola on our terrace that will also be good for like winter, cover it and everything. So we can have an extension of the house a little bit.
Wow. Yeah, good. I mean, congrats. Like that
Thank
sounds
you.
like really, really cool. I'm on like my 7th year in Prague. So yeah, let's see if I move to the countryside at some point. But I think it could be fun. It's just you have to be like ready in your brain, I guess.
Yeah, my husband doesn't like that I'm still thinking about the day that we can move back to Prague. Like I can't think of it as like a permanent thing. If I had ever thought of my time in the US as permanent, I might have never moved. I would have lost this opportunity. I would have never met my husband. So I don't like thinking it as like a permanent, final, I'm going to die there, So it's always nice to think of another adventure that could be coming. And I wouldn't mind living in a village for a bit. It's a new life.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's also like a safe way to be like, okay, nothing is like forever. So it's like
Nothing is forever.
bring it on. Yes, nice. Okay. I want to come back maybe on like some other challenging moments you encountered in Prague.
So challenging moments would be, I'll go from like lowest to like more. Is what's kind of annoying is my name sometimes. I also have a middle name, Marie, and my maiden name is Morse. And then whenever I would go to visa places, they would always get so annoyed at me because when they call me, they call Mary Morsi. And I have no idea who that person is. And I'm just like, excuse me, so I have to like come out with this like new name. So my name is now just Marie for like reservations, nothing for like government official things. But even with Marie, I still get Mary sometimes. So that's kind of frustrating. So I always have to make sure I use a fake name because then otherwise I get into a conversation about my name or they just look at me weird. I called one restaurant and I tried to use my real name and I went to get my reservation and they're like, we don't have it. And I'm like, what? I called and I looked on their thing and they had wrote Sharon. And I'm like, oh, that's not me. So, okay. I guess that's me. I don't know. So those a bit challenging with my name, but not terrible.
Yeah, you need to find a way to like make it to your advantage. Like maybe you can steal other people's reservation or something.
Good.
I always thought about it, like whenever my Czech friends book places on their own Czech name, like Teresa, Aneta, Adela, I'm like, there's so many. So how do they know it's like really you that's coming for, you know? Like,
yeah, but most of my Czech friends use their last name when they make reservations, which is still, there's not a huge selection, but they have pretty good names.
Yes. But yeah, when I hear a reservation like first name, I'm like, okay, weird. Like, that could be anyone.
Yeah, Anna, like, yeah,
yes.
Could be anybody. Jakub.
Okay, thank you for sharing.
Yep. Challenging moments also has to do with the visa place. When I moved to Prague, going to like the Ministry of Interior, I actually had a very good experience. Like everybody was super nice to me. I was able to get everything done by myself. I had originally hired a visa company, but they actually messed up my whole thing and they didn't know how to do it. So I had to learn it myself. And the people at the Interior were really kind to me. And then I don't know if it was because I changed to the EU family, because I have permanent residency through my husband, or if it's because I brought my Czech-speaking husband. Suddenly everybody was just really rude and like pushing back on everything that we were doing for the visa process. So that was a bit annoying. And then the biggest, it's not a regret, because I don't regret this, but the biggest challenge I think I've had is in the US, there's no maternity leave. So I never wanted to have a kid unless I had a stay-at-home dad because I didn't want to give up my career. That's not what I wanted to do. And then when I moved here, I realized that there's like proper maternity leave. I'm like, okay. And your job is secure. I was like, okay, that's good. I can do that. And then I got let go during my maternity leave. And
is that possible?
yes, because they closed the company.
Oh, okay.
They closed the office. So I lost my job, which was a bit scary financially because we weren't in the best situation. But it also gave me time to learn design and try to find a job, which I did. But it took like a year, or maybe almost 2.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know if there's any other country that have longer maternity leave than here.
Yeah, I think so far I've only known Czech Republic, but I think they also dwindled it down from, I think, from 4 years to 3 years now.
Okay, yeah. And you can also share it with your husband. Like, a few of my friends have been doing this like half and half or something like this. I also wrote something about like any what the fuck moments. Doesn't really have a definition, but it's like really moments in your life that you're like, what just happened? I have many what the fuck moments, like dating wise. You were talking, you met your husband on Tinder.
My dating experience here was actually not bad at all. I didn't really have any what the fuck moments. There were a lot of tourists on Tinder at the time, and I was a hostel worker. I was a receptionist, so my job was to give tourists advice, but that's not what my dating app profile is for. So I put in my profile, I am not your tour guide. There is a free tour in Old Town Square. Goodbye. So my dating experience was fine. I didn't have any bad ones in Prague.
But can I ask, like, is that a good question? Did you want a Czech husband? Like, did you focus on like Czech locals, or is that whoever you connect with?
Whoever I connected with. I had seen like some Czech men and I was like, oh, they're okay. But then when I met my husband, I was like, oh, you're really okay. I like you.
Nice. Yeah, because there's like you open Tinder, there's like I don't know 10 nationalities, like in 10 swaps.
Yeah, no, I didn't have a preference. I guess maybe not American. I just wanted to like step away.
Makes sense.
But if I happen to meet an American, it's not like I hate them. Just
yeah, fair. I wanted to do a little break. I'm gonna give you a list of 2 items, and you have to choose your favorite one. And then I keep giving you items, and we'll see what you end up with. It's about mostly parks in Prague. If you had to choose between Letna and Vyšehrad.
Letna.
Letna? Between Letna and Rigrovi Sadi?
Rigrovi Sadi.
Okay. Between Rigrovi Sadi and Naplavka?
20-year-old me would say Naplavka, but pushing 40 me says Rigrovi.
Rigrovi Sadi or Podoli?
Rigrovi Sadi.
Rigrovi Sadi or Kempa?
Rigrovi Sadi.
Rigrovi Sadi or Stromovka?
Stromovka. That's a nice one.
Stromovka or Petrin?
Stromovka.
Okay. Stromovka is the winner here.
Mm.
I love it too, because especially it's so close to where I live. I can bike in like 20 minutes there.
And the reconstruction that they did there, it's so beautiful. Great for the kids to like just run around, have fun.
I was there last weekend, and it was like old spring, almost summer vibes, like people barbecuing already. I was very jealous. And actually, the last time I was in Stromovka, people were like on the lakes ice skating and stuff, because that's... And I think it was just like, 3 months, obviously, between those places. So love the variety of options in Stromovka, for sure. Okay, nice. I want to ask you about your favorite Czech person and what it says about you, but okay, give me your answer. I don't want to make any like assumptions, because maybe it's different.
I think maybe you're going to assume my husband.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my favorite Czech person. Without him, I wouldn't have my kids. I wouldn't have the tiny house that we have. I wouldn't have a lot of things, and he's a great man.
Like, would you say he's like typical Czech person, or?
No, I don't think so.
Is there a typical Czech person?
I don't know.
No.
Whenever I think of like Czechs, I think like Bohemian Czechs and then like Moravian Czechs. It's more like my husband's more of a darker skin, darker hair and eyes. While Bohemian Czechs, I feel like, are more like light skin, fair skin, maybe blue eyes or green eyes. And I like the Moravian. There's some good ones.
Perfect. What's something people don't know about you?
I guess a lot of things. Like I'm an atheist, but they don't know that I was raised in a church, and my father is a priest. So that's kind of always like something. And then I guess more recently, it's when I tell people like I'm a designer, they don't expect that I used to be a compliance officer.
So you said you grew up with your dad being a priest. Did your dad or parents ever visited here?
Yeah.
What's their feeling about the Czech Republic?
My dad he likes it. We grew up Ukrainian Orthodox. So the community that I grew up in was Ukrainian. So the culture is not a huge shock to me or to him. But he would never move here because he's American. He doesn't want to. But he likes it here. He visits like once a year now, especially since now that there's grandkids. Unfortunately, my mother passed away before.
Okay. How come you grew up Ukrainian Orthodox, like some origins from one side or the other?
My father grew up Roman Catholic, but he always wanted to be a family man and a priest. And in Roman Catholic, you can't get married. So he converted to Ukrainian Orthodox so that he could have both marriage and marriage and priesthood.
I'm also super interested, like, the dynamic, like, whenever your parents become grandparents and, like, they visit more often. I'm like, how? Wait, like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I was there, I'm still there.
I used to go home once a year to visit, but now with kids, that's instead of paying for 1-2 tickets, I pay for 4. So I'm like, I'm not. So if you want to see them, you come here. But my brother recently got married, and him and his wife love to do cruises, and so does my dad. So they're coming here in July, because not to Prague, but they're going to Italy, so we're going to meet them there because there's a cruise out of Rome or something. So
Okay.
they're coming more, not as much as I like, but
Okay. What's the best decision you've made recently?
be on this podcast. It's I have a fear of public speaking, and I was telling you this before. I get a lot of anxiety over it, and I want to get out of it. And I feel like the only way to do that is to do something. So when you were posting about like wanting more people, I was like, I need to try. I need to do this, because if I don't, I will never step out. I don't know when I'm going to have an opportunity to speak publicly someplace. So this was like an opportunity to step out of my comfort zone, especially now as a designer. I'm trying less about being a designer, more about being the person I want to be. And the person I want to be is a designer, but also somebody that is confident when they speak and doesn't worry if like a troll says something bad or, you know, comments on the looks or something, or I get a bad angle. I want to try and step away from that insecurities and anxiety and be the person that I want to be. So this is like my step.
Beautiful. I'm super glad you reached out. Like, always looking for new stories and everything. And I mean, not that I'm looking for great stories only, but yours is a great one. So I'm glad you came and shared. Also trying to be more confident in what I do, and like even like promoting this podcast. Like, I hate to be this person that, you know, pushing doors. I just feel like people should come listen to my podcast if they want to, you know. I don't want to force anyone, but it's also part of like, okay, if you want to meet more guests or like have more listeners, like I should do more promotion. And there's like so many people that do it already in Prague. And so yeah, it's finding this balance between like being visible but like not being the annoying,
it's a hard
pushy one.
It's a hard balance to find. But it's you have to reframe it as to like what value you're bringing to the people. And that's what I'm trying to reframe my brain to, because like when I do designs or branding or logos or anything, and I always try to sell myself as a tool. Like I can create it, but I have to frame it as like what value I'm bringing. And I'm trying to use that mindset more now. And you bring value. You get people, you know, to step out of their comfort zone, get in front of a camera, and, you know, talk about themselves. And then the listener can understand like, oh, you know, I had a very similar situation. It was okay, you know. I can connect with it. And I think that's a really great thing to have.
Yeah. Beautiful. At the end of each episode, I ask my guests to make a wish. And if it ever comes true, you can come back and talk about it on the podcast. So yeah, there's a little candle on your left. You can think of a wish and just
Been preparing it.
blow the candle, but just don't tell us.
Okay.
Woohoo! You did it!
Yay.
First podcast ever.
I did it. Be nice to me, guys. Be nice to me.
But yeah, thank you again for doing this.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.